Well, I believe, Zeke, we have just gone live. Pretty exciting stuff. We are pushing the boundaries of technology. Zeke, how are you today?
Fabulous. I'm ready to talk about sailing.
Yeah? Where in the world are you?
Today I am in Southern California, even though most of the year I've been somewhere else. So it's a good time. I've been sleeping in my own bed for the last 2 weeks, and it feels quite comfortable after sleeping in so many different berths, cabins, small boats, big boats. You know how that goes, right? I mean, you do the same thing.
I do, yeah. Yeah, my boats that I'm on are usually not the kind you want to spend the night on. We're out racing all day long. You come home, you hose them off, and you want to climb into the hotel bed more so than the berths on board. But,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. So luckily for us, with the American Sailing Vacation products, we have a lot of cabins that are quite they're luxurious. It's sometimes people say, it's a hotel on the water, right? You have your own head, which is really a nice sized restroom and comfortable beds and air conditioning, all those things that you want from a sailing vacation when you don't want to be in a V berth or in a small berth on a catamaran. Not that I
sure.
don't love doing that, but every place has its own spot, which is one of those things here in the British Virgin Islands. When you're in a nice sized catamaran, you just think, okay, well, I could do this. And every time I'm in the BVI on a larger catamaran, I think I just need a catamaran. I need to eliminate this monohull stuff from my life. But yes, it's always comfortable, so it's good.
Yeah, it's funny. I bet I have done the BVI 30 times, maybe more. And of those, 28 of 30 have been on a monohull. But if you're being honest, I'm pretty sure that a catamaran is better than a monohull in every way except for maybe the aesthetic. The sensation of sailing and kind of the look and feel. But if you're being practical, the cat's the way to go.
That's correct. That's correct. Now, if you're a pure performance sailor and you really want to sail fast, yes, obviously. But everything else, I just told someone today, I really love spending time at the Bitter End Yacht Club these days. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
The
but
rebuild
for
is
me,
incredible. What they've
yes, but
done since the
yeah, out of
storm's
this world.
amazing.
But at the end of the day, you're on a mooring vault on the trampoline of a catamaran, having a late night drink with some friends. It's hard to beat that. It's just hard to beat how great that feels. There's just the lights are on shore. It's just you and a few people. You have some music on the boat. It's harder to do that on a monohull. On a catamaran, it's a dream. So yes, I am the luckiest guy in the world because I get to do it all the time. So
Yeah, it's funny. There was a comment that just showed up in the chat about catamarans not going to weather. I don't know if you're sailing to windward, maybe you've made a mistake in the direction you moved.
right.
Downwind for better weather. That's the movement I like to make. Well, Zeke, since we're on the call, tell us a little bit about American Sailing Vacations, about you, who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
All right. So American Sailing Vacations came from an idea that Lenny Shabes, the founder of American Sailing, came up with. His idea was, let's get people out on the water. Let's start getting people from the 101 class to I really enjoy sailing. And eventually, you're bareboating. That's what American Sailing Vacations has become. I'm the director of communications at American Sailing, but on the vacation side, I handle every aspect of what we do here, from helping people find the right destination to booking them on flotillas. I'm even doing the provisioning. So, what has happened with American Sailing Vacations? We went from one luxury cruise to now we do learn to sail vacations, we do flotillas, and we do multiple luxury cruises around the world from Croatia, Greece, Italy. Spain, France, and the BVI as well as New England. So we are definitely giving sailors options for different forms of sailing entertainment. It's you're sailing with like-minded people, people who want to be on the water, people who want to have a good time. It is imagine all your friends were sailors who enjoyed being out there with you, and that's what you get with the American Sailing Vacations products. And
So you
I'm on
do
a lot of
these
these
all over the
trips.
world, but
Correct.
there's a festival coming to the BVI. Tell us
That's
about
correct.
that.
So the Lenny Shabes Sailing Festival is a BVI flotilla. It's our third year. So you can see in the background here. This is the raft up. We have this is usually the highlight of this trip. The big raft up. The rum runner comes out, is serving slushy drinks to everyone. I usually get a little crazy and say, "I've got it. American Sailing is going to pay for all the drinks," and that's usually what happens. Everyone gets together. Everyone's in the water. It's 80 of your closest friends on catamarans, a couple of monohulls, and we're all just enjoying the sailing. And this is exactly what Lenny's idea was. Like, let's get people out there together. And you'd be surprised. You get there as 85 strangers, and before you know it, you have 40 new best friends. And I have so many friends now from this, and I don't even know what I'm gonna do for Thanksgiving because I have so many invitations. I am that fortunate. I am just privileged. It's so lucky. I'm so lucky that people all over the country are saying, "Come here for Thanksgiving. It'll be fun." So, and that comes directly from just sailing with fun people. And this event here it's about camaraderie. We have a dock party at the beginning where you meet every single person. We'll get together on the raft up, and everyone will interact. I'm going from boat to boat. People are jumping off and on boats. They're having lunch together. They're sharing drinks. And then we have a regatta, a Hobie Cat regatta. It's pure fun at the Bitter End Yacht Club. And then we'll get together for lobster as well in Anegada. So it is one large event where everyone is getting together. And yes, there is rum, but we're almost always anchored, and every boat has a captain, so you don't have to worry about that. You can have fun, and you can sail as much as you want or as little as you want. We
Yeah.
also have
Well, I'm going to have some specific questions for you about that. But
yeah, let's go.
you've piqued my interest, and I've got a video that I want to share with everybody.
All right.
Well, it looks pretty cool in my eyes.
Yeah.
Again, I've been
Yeah.
there 30 times. Makes me want to go back. We did get some
Right.
questions when we put
when I'm
this
watching that video,
program
hold
together.
on. When I'm watching that video,
Yeah,
there's about 12 people from the first trip that went on the second trip, and so I couldn't tell. Some of those people went on two years in a row.
sure.
I've actually a lot of those people I saw this summer in Europe on different trips. So it's always great to look at that, to watch that video and think, wow, that is just an incredible trip.
It's never the same trip twice. I mean, you
Well,
go,
no,
and whether you're going to different spots or the same agenda, it's always a little different and
yeah,
lovely.
definitely,
What is
definitely.
always the same is the sailing's amazing, the people are warm and friendly, and the drinks are cold.
That's the biggest thing, right? Yeah, we last year we're using Horizon Yacht Charters, which is an ASA school,
Okay.
and their captains, all ASA instructors, all professionals, they definitely have changed how we do this because we leave out a nanny K. They handle everything in such a professional manner. I can't say enough good things about Horizon Sailing School and Horizon Yacht Charters in the BVI. They do a really good job, and they've made this entire festival so much easier because people are concerned. You're on a cat, we're traveling with two women captains. And I have to say women because they are just amazing. And people think, well, captain, unfortunately, we have this thing. These women are probably the best captains I've ever seen in my life. And they can fix anything on any boat. And we travel with them. It's Cara and Imogen from Horizon. They are amazing, amazing people. And they're part of the team that creates this because it's not just me. You see me as the talking head, but we have all
Yeah.
these people doing really cool things down there.
That's very cool. Well, one of the most common questions we get is how much sailing do people actually do on this trip? Are they motoring from mooring ball to mooring ball, or are you sailing all the time?
Well, remember, most of the people that are on these trips are sailors, so they want sails up. So there is a lot of sailing going on. We also have a little bit of a competition at the end. Who's used the least amount of gas?
Nice.
Because that's the thing. When we go back to fuel up at the end, someone's going to win. Someone's going to get bragging rights to say, "Yeah, I didn't use much." And I will say that last year I was pretty close to winning, even as I had to move around from place to place to help people out.
Now, does the generator fuel count? Because you got to keep the AC running on those big cats.
Yeah. Well, luckily for me, I had a couple of good days where I could turn the generator off.
Nice.
My wife wasn't happy, but it's a competition.
There you
Everything's
go.
a competition.
So
Yeah, no,
go ahead.
all of these catamarans do have air conditioning, and that's a huge plus, especially in the summertime or late June,
Right.
in the BVI. Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's hot. It's beautiful.
yeah.
It's still a great season to be down there. So where do you go? There's multiple kind of well-worn agendas or paths, but where are you headed? Are you doing
So
Anagata? Are you doing?
yes. We hit all the iconic spots. Obviously, we hit
Okay,
Norman Island, we hit the Baths, we hit the North Sound, Anegada, and Yost Van Dyke. I
nice.
like to toss in Cooper Island because I like that small area. Uh, Great Harbor sometimes. The goal for me is at the beginning of the trip to make sure that everyone's on the same page. So all 14, 15 captains all comfortable. They know what the crowds are looking like, and then we get that itinerary going where we're going to have the best chance to make sure that everyone is close enough to each other. Our mooring, everyone's getting mooring ball, that type of thing. We'll do the North Sound so we can do a raft up, and then obviously Norman Island near the end of the trip so that we can do Willie T, maybe another raft up, and then we're very next morning we're heading back to Road Town. But it gives us the last day also to be on anchor or on a mooring ball.
Nice.
So all the iconic spots are going to get hit definitely.
Well,
So
it
yeah,
sounds like there's cool shoreside activities in addition to the sailing. Can you talk a little about that?
yeah, that's correct. So we'll do a Hobie Cat Regatta, which is something that everybody loves to do. And to be honest, each year we've had this Hobie Cat. Half the people end up not even racing; they end up hanging out on the shore, just having drinks, because the Bitter End Yacht Club just lends itself to having that kind of a fun time. But that is definitely one of our highlights.
Cool.
Uh, we also do a big dinner on Anegada, big lobster dinner where everyone comes together. And during the
Love it.
day there, we head out to Calrec, and there's a little bit of karaoke. There's probably a lot of rum, and a lot of people having a good time. I think Anegada, for those people that have never sailed there, it's just a beautiful place. It's the white sand beaches,
Yeah.
the good food, the fun people. The vibe is completely relaxed, even more relaxed than you get in normal British Virgin Islands. So
And
that's a
flamingos.
big
Don't
deal.
forget there are flamingos on
That's
Anagata.
that's right. There is, yeah.
Yeah.
And we also do a huge dock party day one. And that is where you really get to know everyone. I'll walk around and I'll see every single person. Last year, the dock party spilled onto our catamaran as well, and I thought, how can you get 25 people on a catamaran? But we did, we
It's a
did,
boater
yeah,
safety video in the making right there.
yeah,
So
right.
while they're down there, can people take an ASA course?
Now, some this year we have 6 schools participating, and some of them are doing ASA 103 and 104, and others are doing 114.
Cool.
I typically say this: if you take a course, at some point during the event, you're going to say, "Oh, I want to do that," and you're going to have to fulfill course requirements, and that's when it gets tricky. Where you think, "I think I'd rather have fun than take a course. I
Yeah.
think I'd rather go to the raft up and have rum rather than take this course." So that is, you have to weigh the options. It's a flotilla. People are having a lot of fun the entire time. They wake up in the morning, they're having fun. And so if you're taking a course, not that a course isn't fun, but you do have to then lock in and do the coursework, practice the skills. And so that is the only drawback to taking a course
Yeah.
on this flotilla.
You know, as
Um,
somebody who has led a lot of flotillas in my time, I've always recommended that you get the coursework done and you use the flotilla for your experiential learning. This is a great way to come down and do a BVI charter without all of the responsibility resting on you. So you get to see how it's supposed to go and build up that body of experience. So when you come back on your own, you're ready to have a really successful trip.
yeah, the beauty of a flotilla is you're there with a very experienced captain. So you're going to learn how to pick up a mooring ball the correct way or the most efficient way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if the wind's blowing and you have to drop an anchor, you're going to learn so much, but you're also having fun. You're in that non-pressure environment with a lot of support.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of a flotilla. It just you have a lot of that support. You have other people who want to learn the same things you're learning, and you'll have a friendly instructor who is going to say, if you want to take the helm, go ahead, or if you want to sit on the trampoline and have a drink, you can do that too because you're not in charge. The captain's in charge, so you don't have to worry about that. So
Yeah, that's nice.
it's the best of both worlds, really.
You're going to make a lot of new friends on this trip, but if you're coming with a group of your own friends, are you going to get assigned to the same boat or spread around? How does that work?
Yeah, so people typically will ask me, "Hey, I want to be on with this person or this couple." And last year we had a 6-person, 54-foot, and the entire boat was a family and some family friends, and that boat was just a riot, just incredible. They were having the time of their life. But yeah, you can pick your friends. I think last year's group was different because we had about 4 groups like that. So we had 4 independent small communities interacting with the larger community. It makes it so much more fun for people when they're bringing their friends down, because there is some anxiety when you have a complete stranger in another cabin if you're
Sure.
not if you're not used to that.
Yeah.
So when you bring your friends, day one you're just running in and now you're having fun. You probably had fun at the airport and then you had fun on the ferry. And by the time you get to your boat, you're already primed for really good fun because you know everyone. So,
Yeah, my favorite thing about the BVI is every day starts with a swim. Then you do a little something. Then you go for a swim. Then you do a little something, go for a swim. Then you got a sundowner. It's a perfect day.
right, every day, every day.
Every day.
Anytime you end the day on a sundowner, it's beautiful. Anyway,
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, so you
there's
said you do the
sometimes there's
provisioning.
sun-uppers.
What does it look like eating aboard?
So provisioning, I handle all of that to make sure that you have breakfasts and lunches on board all the time. I personally, I only because our year one we had someone else do it. We had a provision company in the BDI do it, and there's just too many moving parts. So I now work with each boat to make sure that they're getting the provisions they need that they want. So if you have food allergies or preferences, I'm taking care of every one of them on an individual basis. Makes it so much easier, and all those meals are covered. Most of our evening meals will be ashore, so people are responsible for their evening meals ashore as well as their alcohol. Um, there'll be like some food that's provided meal wise outside of those two, outside of breakfast and lunch, and that's grilling, food for grilling for the raft up. And then there's free bottles of rum, and there's some of that going on. But for the most part, alcohol and meals ashore are covered by the participants, and breakfast and lunch are taken care of by American Sailing. And that provisioning will definitely have it happen with me, and I'll make sure that we're meeting every single person's needs, because that's the best part. If you have food and drink, you're probably going to be fine. Even when you don't have wind, if you have those two things, you're fine.
Yeah. So how do you sign up? Sounds like you're going to sell out. So what's the story on getting
the last 2
in?
years we've grown bigger. We had 12 boats the first year, 15 the second. We're going to try to cap it around 14 to 16 boats this year on American Sailing Vacations.com.
You mean this website?
Look at you, huh? And it's the Lenny Shabes Sailing Festival, the BVI Flotilla. I also have a coupon code that those people that are listening can use, and they'll save 500. And I'll give the coupon code right now. It's capital LSSF 2026. LSSF 2026. That's 500 off on a coupon code for this sailing festival. I think that will work until Black Friday. I believe that's how we set that up. But most people can send me an email, Zeke@AmericanSailing.com, and I'll also always try to find a way to make it affordable. One of the biggest things the goal here is to get as many people on the water as possible. That's the goal. When Lenny created this idea, it was, let's get people sailing. Let's not just have them finish a course. Let's get out there and let's sail. Lenny was one of these people who he had an infectious personality. And I could see him on this trip talking to every single person, staying out late and, just having a good time and just promoting sailing in its purest form, people getting together, doing something they really enjoy. And that's what we do. I mean, I'm a nut when it comes to sailing. It could be cloudy, it could be sunny, it could be rainy. It doesn't matter to me. Like, this is amazing. This is incredible. I'm having the time of my life. And that's truly what I'm trying to capture here all the time. On every one of our trips, I'm trying to capture this idea that we're so lucky to be out there. And every day I know I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and we are lucky to be able to do this. And so I want to share this. So yes, I see a note here. Can I come by myself? We do have solo cabins available. Please send me a message, Zeke@AmericanSailing.com, and we'll find you a spot. We want people to enjoy sailing, enjoy the BVI, and experience these things together. It's just we're lucky,
Yeah. Becky Davis had a question in the chat. Are there other opportunities to rent or sail smaller dinghies beside the Hobie Cat Regatta?
That one's a little harder because we're moving from spot to spot. So it's not as convenient to pick up another rental. I know that in Anegada, we had a group, we got there early and they were able to do that. But I never want to say, oh yeah, sure, it's pretty easy, because you can get to Anegada and there's none available. But at the Bitterman Yacht Club, yes. In North Sound, that is possible. In other spots, I don't want to say yes, only because they're not always available.
Sure.
It's that simple. Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot going on. You might get your fill of sailing and need a good beach walk.
Right. Yeah.
So Martin wanted to know how you get to the boats. What's the mode of transportation?
So, you can usually fly into St. Thomas, and then you take a ferry to Roetown, or you can fly to Tortola and then taxi to Nanny Cay in Roetown or outside of Roetown. Flights are less expensive when you're flying into St. Thomas, but you do have to deal with the ferry system. That's the drawback of going to St. Thomas, but I would much rather do that, because from Los Angeles, for me, that price and the difference in price is significant. It's about $400 in flight
Yeah.
It's always it's always better to do that.
That's always been my default as well. And it's not that big of a deal. I'm
Yeah.
sure you and I could both help anybody navigate that. But for some, flying into Beef Island, right into the BVI, is the right choice.
Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily eliminate the hassle and the hoops because you got to get from Beef Island to Nanny Key, but it is one less hop, if you will.
Yeah, and for most people, when they book, I typically send them all the information to be able to conveniently get to the dock. I'll give them
Sure.
schedules. I'll give them options. So, and we also have a travel agent in house that helps with most of this, from hotels before and after to even flight recommendations. So
Yeah.
we take care
You
of
know, it adds a
most
little
everything.
expense, but there's a lot to be said for building in a buffer day before and after, finding a relatively inexpensive Airbnb or a hotel to just make those travel days easier.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Had one question about staterooms. Talk to us about what the layout on the boats looks like.
So all of our catamarans have their own head. So they're four cabins, four heads. Some catamarans will have three cabins with an owner's cabin, but everyone will have their own head. If you don't have your own head, it's because a boat broke down or something, and I'll make sure that you know about it way in advance. But most people, we like to have our own head. So on the catamarans, it's you rent by the cabin, so you and a person or you by yourself, but you will have your own head. That's really important. I have to stress that all the time because it's kind of a big deal for most people to have their own shower, their own head.
Yeah.
And on cats, they're fairly spacious. On the monoholes they're a little tighter, but they're still nice. These are 54-foot monoholes, and then we have 42 plus foot cats.
Yeah, those four cabin layouts with the four heads are really nice. It's
Yes,
a
definitely,
great setup.
definitely. Yeah.
Well, Zeke, is there anything I haven't asked you that you wish I would?
His part is here is we're going there with a lot of fun people, friends. We become a family. I guarantee you, I'll make no apologies. You go on this trip, you're going to go on another trip with us, and all of a sudden we're going to talk all the time, and you're going to go, where are you going to go? Croatia? Are we going to Croatia? Are we going to go to Italy or France or Spain? This happens every single time, and we're lucky that way because we meet a lot of really good people. So if you're looking to meet other sailors who enjoy, they're just curious about traveling or curious about getting out there, you're definitely going to have fun on this trip. If you just want to sail and your idea is, I just want to sail the whole time, I don't need the parties, I don't need the social side, honestly, this may not be for you because these are very big social events. There's a lot of people having a good time together. So I just caution if someone just wants to sail 8 hours a day, and we have those people, nothing wrong with that. You wake up at 9, you're like, let's get out, let's just sail all day long. This is probably not for you because there's going to be people who say, I want to get together for lunch with, the boat people from the other boat, or I want to go to the Hobie Cat Regatta, or I just want to have some fun with people on shore as well. When
Yeah.
we go to Yost Van Dyke, some people there's like, I'd rather have sailed than hung out on at the beach, and that's fine. But you're going to find most people are going to want that. We
Yeah.
will have some people go scuba diving. We'll have quite a few people doing like 2 days where they'll go diving. There'll be two dives per day, probably on day one and then day three out of North Sound. That's probably the only thing we didn't talk about, but there will be scuba divers. There usually is. So,
Cool.
um,
How do you get back and forth to the islands? You've got a rib on every boat, and the
that's
captain's
correct.
running people in and out. How does that work?
That's right. Yeah, every boat will have a dinghy. You'll quite often jump on other people's dinghies because this is what happens, right? You become friends with someone. Say, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to Willie T with this group, so they'll just come by and pick you up. we're all in the same mooring field. We all have the same flags up. Everyone knows each other. But yeah, every boat will have that. And captains, again, you have your own captain. So they'll do a really good job of bringing you back and forth, do everything you need to do.
Well, and when you're on Yoast, you've got to live up to the Soggy Dollar name and swim yourself to the bar.
Well, you do. You do. Believe me, you don't know how many times I've told my wife that. She's like, I'm good. Let's get to the sand.
Well, Zeke, this has been a ton of fun, only slightly terrifying, our first live stream together. I hope we get to do more of these in the future, and I hope we answered some questions for folks who are interested in coming on one of the American sailing vacations.
If anyone has more questions, please, Zeke at americansailing.com. Just send me a message. If you say, I watched you on this live stream, I need a discount. I'm such a pushover. I'll probably give you a discount. So please.
Well, Zeke,
Thanks
we're going to go
everyone.
out on the video one more time here.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So let's go back to the beaches where I always make you laugh, to the forest where we found a hidden path, to the summertime of 2005, when we were still alive, when we were still alive. When we were still alive.
Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.